What happens after we die? Depending on a person's belief system, each individual may have a different answer to this question. And even within the bounds of certain belief structures, there are individual ideas about what life after death, if any, might be like. Here in the West, many of us might believe in a heavenly realm, or a fiery hell. Many people are atheists as well, and such individuals tend to believe that once we experience biological death, we are no more, like biological machines, we just turn off and then that is the end of us. Others may have other beliefs, such as reincarnation and the belief that instead of a heaven or a hell, we pay for the consequences of our actions in a future life, where such incarnations may either be positive or negative in accordance with what we have or have not done in past lives. Often, people may be quite wide-ranging in their beliefs, and may choose to take a little bit from a large pool of belief systems. They may believe in a monotheistic kind of God, but also believe in reincarnation. Some may believe that death is the end of everything as individual beings, but they may believe that the stuff that was us is recycled in a way, that what we were, the plants, the earth, the stars, is what we go back to becoming, and in that sense, they cheat in that way, that utter gloom of the atheistic finality. Whether it is reincarnation, classical heaven and hell, atheistic finality, or any of the number of beliefs that people have about what happens after you die, these beliefs are almost always dogmatic ones. By dogmatic I mean that in almost every case, all these beliefs are based not on personal experience, but on a kind of faith in the general belief systems of the times. Few people claim to have seen past the veil of the material universe. They can only see what their physical senses can reveal to them. For that reason, most believe that such a thing, seeing what happens after death, is fundamentally an impossibility, at least for them, and as such they only have the opinion of experts in this field to rely on. Such experts can be the clergy and the theology of the times. These experts may also be the intellectuals and the philosophers that are prominent in an era, and they may even be, at least in this modern period, the scientists and the scientific establishment. There is certainly nothing wrong with belief in the dogma of the times, if such dogma provides hope and a sense of ease in a difficult world. And while these dogma-based belief systems are and have always been, when the human population gets large enough, the main way that people can come to terms with the hardest part of living, which is the dying, you should know that this dogmatic understanding of things is not the only way to understand the after-death experience. Belief in faith and faith in belief is not the only way to know about the after-death experience. In other cultures, oftentimes cultures that have a closer relation to the earth, there are different ways of knowing, of seeing, the after-death experience. There are also different groups, different currents if you like, that while in the midst of large and well-organized civilizations, practice traditions, techniques, and methodologies that try to overcome the many hindrances of dogma, especially when it comes to the veil of the objective world, the world of matter, and the after-death experience, that is, what happens after death. One such current is the way of inner alchemy. Such a current has as its main focus the intentionality of first teaching those that are part of that current how to see beyond the veil, the maya, the illusion, of the material world. Once this is possible, which could generally be referred to as being able to see, to be a seer, an oracle, such an individual is then able to let go of dogma, let go of the established dogmatic beliefs of the times, and directly perceive for themselves what exists beyond physicality and therefore what exists after physical death. In this video, I would like to discuss briefly what these personal direct individual perceptions might be, and I say might be, because each individual perception is different, being that each individual is fundamentally different. We are individuals, we see differently, we can, away from physicality, perceive slightly differently, and our psychology presents us with different obstacles and allegory, and for that reason the way that we perceive such energetic truth is also highly individual and may involve all sorts of perceptive mechanisms and symbolism that must be explored and plumbed into, in order to find the greater reality, within the scope of the human grasp of energetic truth. In accordance with the seeing of inner alchemists, therefore, the nature of the after-death experience is not something that is discovered by studying the general dogma of the times, or by believing what someone else says, even what I am saying right now. It is instead discovered through the ability to see, to perceive energy directly, which can be taught by reading a book, but that must later be used to go beyond all language, so that what you know from then on is individual in nature. Once this ability to perceive directly is established, these seers, this confluence of oracles, can then come together and establish a general intentionality that creates a current, and each individual seer can either participate or not in accordance with their own highly individual perceptions and actions. The current that I am a part of can be termed the current of inner alchemy. While it may seem contradictory of me to try to describe such seeing to you, being that in essence this then becomes dogmatic knowledge, sometimes the descriptions of such things, such direct perceptions, by the intentionality of inner alchemy for example, can help an individual to tune into their own intuitions, their own highly individual inner feeling sense, about what it is that they have somehow always known to be true deep within themselves, and in discovering this inner alignment, they can then choose as individuals to try to perceive directly themselves, and after doing so, by the sheer act of such perceptions, join a current in accordance with their own individual intentions. So, after all of that, from the inner alchemist point of view, from their direct perceptions, what happens to us after we die? Well, from that group intentionality, from that current, the after-death experience in many ways resembles what the general human collective refers to as the dreamscape, the dream time. If you want to know what death is like, then all you must do is begin to explore your dreams and the nature of the dreamtime environment that you are part of for a third of your life. In the dreamscape, in that dimensional zone where dreams are a reality, a real other world, you are there yourself, and yet you have left your physical body behind. To many, this dream time can be quite chaotic and for the most part forgotten, but of the things that you might remember, you might notice that there is incredible flexibility here, and in this place you may partake in many adventures where you might be yourself as you understand yourself within physical space, or you might be completely other selves, at least other instances of yourself that may take forms that may be quite different from what you may consider to be your physical being. While it is generally the case that people tend to only remember those dreams that are coherent enough for them to be perceived as a rational sequence, linear and orderly, it is also the case that many of these dreams can be so expansive, and the feelings and perceptions so beyond rational possibility, that such dreams are quite often either completely forgotten, or so beyond the conscious mind, that they may never be known to you. And while it is the case that in this dream reality, perhaps when it comes to the hardest dreams to dream, those dreams that we call nightmares, there is always this sense that you can wake up and return to your physical self, and to the stability and the hardness of the object-filled world, because no matter how hard, both physically and metaphorically this solid world might be, it is still a refuge from the powerful expansiveness of what you truly are and will continue to be after physical death. With that in mind, now imagine what it might be like to enter a dream, to enter this dreamverse where your individuality at times seems to be so strained, so hard to hold and identify, meaning that it can at times be so difficult to maintain your individuality, your individual identity, and then find out that you can never wake up to the physical you, ever again. This is death, this is the after-death experience, and at least in accordance to the current of inner alchemy, it is a highly complex affair, that, like a dream, involves the exploration of quite real and very individually pertinent experiences of the most sensual nature. Many people believe dreams to be quite ethereal, that is, they do not think dreams feel as real in a way as what they consider to be physical reality, and in that sense some people might even believe that the after-death experience is a relatively sensually numb one, where, like some kind of wandering phantasm, they are not able to touch or feel as much as they did when they were physically alive. But, as those that can recall dreams quite vividly will tell you, the dream experience is often made up of sensual experiences that oftentimes far surpass anything that could be felt in the physical reality, containing both feelings, sounds, smells, tastes, and visuals that far exceed anything possible in the physical dimension. The after-death experience is a highly complex one that far surpasses any dogmatic belief and completely redefines any idea of the linear space and time that all current dogmatic beliefs rely on so much. As such, the only way to truly perceive the nature of the after-death experience is for you to personally learn to become a seer, an oracle, an individual who can perceive energy directly yourself. The way of inner alchemy is a multifaceted process that involves a great deal of focus, and a kind of movement that completely defies both the archonic mob mind of the times and any notions of rationality and purely three-dimensional mechanical-based logic. In order to try to reveal the complexity of these motions, these inner motions of inner alchemy, I have put together a trilogy of course books that reveal the nature of this intentionality without any of the complex symbology and cipher that is usually found when this current is examined. If you are interested in learning more about the nature of the after-death experience and about how inner alchemists fight for immortality, then I recommend the book, The Way of the Death Defier. To get the full picture and the background information needed to understand the way of inner alchemy, which includes the nature of the energetic way, energetic truth, about projecting and moving beyond 3 dimensions, what the ghost in the machine is, how to see energy directly, and about how inner alchemists create the Philosopher's Stone and use that energy to defy all archonic control, then I would recommend the full course book trilogy, which includes the Magnum Opus, The Way of the Projectionist, and The Way of the Death Defier. Thank you.